and nobody will hear us. But we're on here, right, Malik? He's watching on YouTube. But in order for us to reach some people or reach the next generation, we have to embrace. I started earlier to say that there are two main issues for our church: cultural issues and social issues. And if you can break that barrier between them and join them, we can reach more people. There's no way you can reach I think there's a housing scheme over there. There's no way you can reach them if you don't go there to them. If you don't put up a sign to say, hey, this is a church, they might not know. If we don't live the Christian life, my neighbor cried some years ago because she was saying that I at the time I was living alone and she saw me going to church every Sabbath. And she's like, oh, this young man so faithful. I was like, when I think I'm faithful in about born and growing church, it's like the thing we do. But the fact that she could see that, she said, I need to start going to church because if you can do it, I can do it. We can't meet or reach people if we don't have an example to set. And if we don't embrace the cultural norms, some of them, and the social norms, we'll never reach them.
I like how you said to embrace. Many of us fear technology, fear the growth of technology, because I remember when AI came in, I didn't really fancy it. At work, the team would be like, you can use this, and I'm like, I'm okay. But no, I've embraced it. I've stopped fearing the technology because many persons think or believe that it's going to take over, it's going to replace us. But if we become familiar with it, if we let it become a part of us, then there will be a need for us to go along with the technology. So as simple as our service, we can share it. Go on YouTube, click share button, copy the link, or the update that YouTube gives us now. We don't even have to copy the link anymore. All we have to do is just click on WhatsApp, it loads up our WhatsApp, and we see all our contacts that we want to send it to. All our contacts that we can send it to. So all we have to do is stop fearing technology and learn to be a part, let the technology be a part of us. Don't fear it, don't run from it. Better to run towards it. Once again, we're never too old to learn. We're never too old to gain something new. Never you put a restriction on what you can do. Don't put a ceiling on what you can do. Believe that you can get to the ultimate. Believe that you can get to the highest height. And once you tell yourself that, then guess what? That is where you will go. That is where you believe you can go.
Okay, thank you. So it's time for our congregation to be involved. I know they have some burning questions. And Brother James been a signal long time, so you know, say film question piping hot. So now Brother James is going to be asking the panelists some questions.
Technology, you have to come use the technology. So those online can hear you. So you have to come join us up here to ask the question or make your statement. Look into the camera and smile and speak.
Come on this side.
For me, it's not so much a question, but my fear is that God give us a brain to utilize it. While it is true you have to use the brain to utilize the technology, but as my brother says that he was asking technology for some ideas, and it's just some little tweet he make on that. No, I'm afraid that the brain become lazy. I know technology is good in some way because I'm not a good speller. So whenever I'm texting, sometimes I spell wrong. And technology helped me. And I say, good up to technology. But in some way, when the brain should utilize its power, its God-given ability, technology can allow the muscles of the brain to become dormant. And that is my problem. So you personally.
All right, Brother James. I like how you said technology can let the brain become dormant. But guess what? I think that the only way we allow our brain to become dormant because of technology, if it's that we only rely on the technology. So if we don't decide that, hey, I'm going to put this phone aside, I'm going to take up my physical book and read, instead of having the phone read to me, then you're just relying on, and you're just listening to what is being read to you, but are you, once again, understanding? Versus you're reading and you're like, hold on there, you highlight something because that jumps out at you. That causes you to think deeper on what is being said, right? So you're still exercising the brain, but guess what? You're not only relying on technology to give the answer. So not because you don't understand something in the Bible, you're going to just run to Google and say, hey, do-do-doops, and you find it, and you get your answer. No, you're going to go deeper. You're going to find maybe a Sister Ellen G. White writing, and you're going to get an answer there. You're going to get an answer maybe from the pastor. You're going to get part of the answer maybe from a member in the church. But it's not that you're only relying on the technology to say, hey, I don't understand what the Psalms in the Bible is saying to me. I don't understand this in my Sabbath school lesson. You are not just asking the phone. You're not just asking the technology. You're not just asking the AI. You're asking around you. You're asking in your inner circle. You're challenging yourself to read outside of technology. To take up the book, take up the Bible, take up a book and say, all right, this is what I have. You have your bookmarkers. How many of us still use bookmarkers? See, Brother Zamor. And I'm sure that if he, I see, we have one more hand going up.
All right, they want you to come up here. You have to come to this one.
All right, so for me, I think it's all about balance. As I said, technology without God, it's useless, especially in the context of the church and using communications as a means to minister. So if I go to ChatGPT and I say, give me an idea for a sermon or for a children's story, typically when it comes back, it's pretty much dry. It's when I pray over it and ask the Lord to give me strategy and to show me how to flesh it out. That's when it comes alive. And that's when I find my messages go forward with power and with, people are understanding and are responding to the message. So I think it's about balance. You get the ideas and the stuff from ChatGPT, but you also understand that you have to rely on the power of the Holy Spirit to convict and to make a great impact.
So we can still utilize technology, and at the same time we can still embrace the older principles. Like, I still drive a manual car. I'm not interested in automatic. How many young persons like me can talk like that? They can't even drive standard. So while it is good to use your brain power, again, balance is important. If I have a washing machine, why am I going to wash with my hands when I can use the machine? But at the same time, I'd prefer to hang my clothes on a line as opposed to put them in a dryer. So you can utilize technology, you can try to find balance, but at the same time, allow technology to work in such a way where it doesn't take away, like, in terms of the importance of who we are as God's children and how we reach people. Again, if I should give you the answers ChatGPT gave me today, you might look at me like, what am I talking about? But you can still use those answers to get the bigger picture.
All right, so what I'd like to add to the point, and I want to answer it in two folds. So technology is just a tool that we utilize, right? The problem occurs when the tool becomes master of us. That's where the problem is. So take, for example, a hammer, right? The hammer is a tool that you have, but you utilize the hammer to get what you need done. You know it is where it is that you want to go. So the hammer doesn't lead us say, all right, this is how you're going to break up, or this is how you're going to nail the nail into the board, right? You know that, all right, I want one there, I want one there, I want one there, and this is how I want to construct it. So for example, with your example that I gave, Ella James, they said that the spell checker tells you, okay, this is how the correct spelling of the word is. So when you get that, you say, oh, this is how you spell hippopotamus. All right, I'm going to write down hippopotamus now, so next time I want to use hippopotamus, I know how to spell hippopotamus, right? So it gives you the idea that oh, this is how you spell it. So you now need to, in utilizing the tool, know how to spell hippopotamus, so the next time it comes, you know how to spell it. And to add to that as well, the point about technology taking away our jobs. We should not be afraid of technology in that sense because it provides new opportunities. So long time ago, people used to have to break up break up stones, beat stone, boom, boom, right? Or they had to be used in terms of farming and so forth. We have to be digging up with a little machete and so forth. But we have new tools, we have new stuff. We have a tractor now that we can utilize, right? And because we have this tractor that we can utilize, I am no longer now having a machete walking around with or cutting the yard with a machete. I step up my game and now have a weed whacker, right? I cut the place, right? So technology provides new opportunities. We have young children who are coders. When I say coders, they might write code. If we do something, do robotics. They write a code and say, this is what my robot is going to do. My robot is going to drive, come up here, and it's going to take up this. I'm going to put it right there, right? So the technology provides great opportunities. It's for us now to be still in control of the opportunity, of this tool. And if we're in control of this tool, then our brain power will continuously evolve even more. But the problem is when we just sit down and say, all right, robot, do this for me. Robot, do that. And we see that happening. And persons become lazy and just live and they hear that they have all kind of different heart complications, non-communicable diseases, and so forth. But we must ensure that the tool does not become master of us.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have another congregation question from Brother Wiles.
All right, good evening. My deacon team now, they refuse to read the deacon's manual, much less to buy it. Is there an answer to that? A digital answer? They refuse to buy it, much less to read it. And if we could get them to read it, there's much for them to understand and realize how to get them work forward. Give us an answer, please.
I don't think technology can solve that, because you don't have to buy it. But if, let's say I have a soft copy and I send it to them, as I said, they're not reading it, so that.
I like how your wife is thinking ahead of you.
She
I'm
said
thinking
audio.
like I'm thinking the audio. Find a way to ask once again. Ask Ella Conray, is there an application out there I can use, you know? Convert this deacon's manual into audio files, so that my deacons can listen it. You don't have to give them, say, a 4-hour audio. Break it up into some 10 minutes, some 5 minutes audio. And little by little, you send it out in that order, so each section is being listened to. Because many of us, we walking and we're texting, but some of us were walking and we're listening to a voice note or listening to a message, listening to a song. You're doing something, say you're washing your plate. You can't read it while you're washing your plate, but you can just pop in a headphone and you just listen. So see if you can get it converted to audio and use that audio to send out to them.
Right, but also added to that, they might see the book, and because it's called a manual, how many persons love to read a manual? Not many persons, right? When I say not many persons, right? So we have the few who love to read a manual. So what I'm getting to know, so the ones who love to read it and understand it now can come and prepare a PowerPoint presentation, right? This is us now utilizing technology. Say, all right, this is what it says. So we break it down for those persons and say, oh, I say, but wait, that was in the book? Was really in there? Show me which page, right? And you start to build upon their need to say, all right, go there, and so forth. And hopefully over time it can foster the need for them to go and dig a little bit deeper, right? So it is more than just say, all right, here's a book, read a book, right? Because that's not going to work for most persons, right? So and again, this comes back now to the leadership of the church. We'll say, all right, and from time to time we do these things. I mean, we have sessions, we have workshops and so forth, and that is the idea. It is to constantly have these sessions and workshops because we have new team members coming in, plus we need refresher courses and so forth. So that's one way we can utilize the technology. Right now, for example, even the same ChatGPT AI can create a scenario like what they call like a cartoon, for example, to say, hey, this is what you will do. I say, all right, give me something that is graphical. So instead of it just being we have this story or we have this chapter, put it in a video for me, where the persons can now appreciate and say, okay, if we don't, these are the duties of the deacon. So the deacon is to do this to ensure that the church is ready. If the church is not ready, then this is what's going to happen, right? So when it is visualized and it comes across that way, then persons say, oh, you know, I never looked at it that way, because it is presented in a different format. So there is still a way. It might not be at our level right now, but the technology is actually there. It is available, where we can even use the same ChatGPT to say, all right, create a video for me. Or we have somebody with the skill set to say, all right, design something that can bring across the idea to say, all right, these are the 7 points that I want my deacons and deaconesses to focus on. Give me a nice videography or a nice presentation on it, a movie file or something that just brings it across nicely. As we said, for example, if we need to present something to the children, we have to do it at their level. So if we find that person not willing to read, then if we present it in a video format that they can watch and look, and then we can steer them towards that way, then that's a possible option for us. And again, this would go back to the leadership of the church.
One of the government's mandate is to reach everybody, anywhere, anytime. And if you watch most parliament sitting, there is a lady doing sign language. So people like me who can see properly, I can see, I can hear, so I can just watch. But for persons who can't hear, the sign language person is there. For persons who can't see, audio is there. So anybody in this church, if you want to meet them, if you want to get information to them, and for example, let's say I cannot read. I can see, I can hear, but I cannot read. There must be some way you can find using technology to get that message across. A lot of the things I know, I did not intentionally go there to learn it, but I might see something, and because of that first look, I then started to do some research. All the Bible stories I know, they were taught to me by my parents, whether they were telling me a story or they gave me a video to watch. So you just have to find ways and means to just get to your members.
Any more questions? Okay. So this ends our program for AY. And just a quick recap. So today we learned about communication, how impactful it is. We should be accessible, receptive, because we can't have the information and not receptive enough to accept the information. Communication creates memories, because probably when we're old and gray, we want to look back on 2 pictures and with the young and fit and work for God, you know. You used to run up and down, you used to walk the streets of Spanish Town Road, and you go house to house and you talk to members, not only members, but other persons in the community. We also learned that it is also not a role that you should take lightly. It comes with a lot. I believe that the task of communication has a lot included, because just sitting around there, it looks simple. Seeing them walk back and forth in church, it looks simple. But when they sit down and break down the program for you, it's not that simple. It's a bit more complex. So on behalf of the communications department and the team, I would like to thank our panelists for joining us today for such an informative session. I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. I'm sure the church have learned a lot. I have, and I will be using it in my daily life because I'm a big fan of Chat GPT. Helps me in school. And yeah, I would hope that she's not watching because it helps with a lot of assignments. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much for just giving us a brief walk. Because if they should really go into communication, like the journey of communication, we'll be here all day. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. And from the discussions that we have, there's three words that we can leave with today: impactful, accessible, and creating memories. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate you all being here today, including you too, the whole church, because without you guys, the program wouldn't be so vibrant. Okay? Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. We have a wonderful and an impactful day. We are going straight into our Vespers and then close out. So we are going to stand and